We didn't play Chattanooga State today. That was Dan Lanning's reaction after what was an entertaining win over USC over the weekend. Dean Legge, Matt DeBerry, Ryan Curley, and Ryan. I'll let you get started on this one.
What are we doing, Dan? You used to be a part of the SEC. I don't know. I think that sometimes these coaches either feel inclined or feel pressured to make their program make themselves look better in any way they possibly can. I think you see that over and over again. But look, Oregon played some not good competition at the beginning of the year. They've got a 9 game conference schedule. The SEC's got an 8 game conference schedule. We're talking about the difference between one game. He was a part of Clemson versus Georgia in 2021. He was a part of Oregon versus Georgia in 2022. I don't get it. Maybe he's joking.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I don't think he's joking,
No.
but I do think that you're right in, him taking up for his team and taking up for the conference because every year there's this big SEC Big Ten battle, and it feels like Oregon's had their share of cupcakes. Theirs have been, in conference play, and I guess, Auburn didn't play Georgia like a cupcake, neither did Florida. But Oregon has not gone through a gauntlet this year, and I don't know if it's the week that several SEC schools are playing these conference games, but I go back to saying that a lot of Georgia fans need games like Austin P and who do they just play Charlotte, right? It's good to have the families get to go to a cupcake game like that in November. I have no problem with it. You know, don't blame the SEC for Florida and Tennessee being bad. I mean, they did play on a big weekend, but I think it's just Dan kind of jumping the shark a little bit. He's made this kind of the way he goes about coaching his team with this kind of ego and this edge, but he's going to take up for his Ducks in his conference. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, but there's a lot of caveats here. First of all, Oregon is one of the few schools in the country that has played 11 sort of legitimate games, if you want to call them that. Nine Big Ten, and then they played Oregon State, who is in the Pac-12 right now. What's left of the Pac-12, and then Oklahoma State, which might be the worst team in Power Four football. So the scheduling has been fine or adequate on the Oregon side of things. Um, it's just that the Big Ten is just not good. I mean, it's that simple. I'll read y'all out loud what that this is the first part of the nuance, and I'll get to the second part. I mean, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Penn State, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Rutgers have losing records or 6-6 records. That's almost half the league. The 7-4 teams, which are like Iowa and so forth, and not specifically Iowa, but that world, they have losses to Cal, Penn State, and Tulane. So the Big Ten is just not good. So there's that. So no, you weren't playing Chattanooga State. You've been playing Chattanooga State, or you've been playing UTC, but you've not been playing them all the time. And I'll just say this too: the SEC this past week, y'all, had Texas, Arkansas, had Tennessee, Florida, had Mizzou, Oklahoma, and had Vanderbilt, Kentucky. So 5 ranked teams played in 4 SEC conference games. So let's not act like the SEC is like dodging things at the end of the season. And in addition, 6 SEC schools are playing a day early. So Friday, unlike the Big Ten where you have 4 teams that are playing that. So Nebraska and Iowa and whoever's that league just doesn't matter. So the nuance of this is that your league sucks. It's not in the same universe. The Big Ten, Ryan, is the ACC with Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean it's top heavy, and it has been for a while. Indiana, Ohio State. I think
Mm-hmm.
you get Michigan, you get USC, you get Penn State some years.
I'm
Iowa's
talking very
competitive,
specifically
Washington could be
this year.
competitive, but then the second half, the difference between the bottom half of the Big Ten and the bottom half of the SEC is it's just not the same. And part of that is because of athletes and recruits and what they bring in. Florida might not be a good team. Auburn's not a great team. They've got 5 stars. They got a bunch of 4 stars. They've got legitimate players in there that are going to play at the next level. It's not at the same level in the Big Ten. I think that kind of what Matt was saying and a little bit of what I was getting at. This is Dan's been this. He's been outwardly spoken, right? He's doing the thing in the locker room last year where we don't play for clicks, right? We play for wins or whatever he said. This is kind of what he's become. Um, I just I don't know what is his angle with it because his team's in the playoff, right? As long as they take care of business this week, and there's no question about that. I don't know what he needs to advocate for.
He wants you to remember Oregon. He's saying, hey, don't forget
I think that's
about
probably
us.
right.
And I get what he's trying to do, but again, it goes back to something I've said for a while now. Arkansas is not coming in last place in the Big Ten. Neither is
Well,
Auburn, neither is Mississippi State, neither is Florida. And playing at Williams-Brice like Alabama did is not the same as playing at Rutgers or at Maryland. Playing in the swamp is not the same as playing at Minnesota, okay? Completely different. And people have to use context when we talk about this stuff. And the SEC has some bad teams. The Big Ten has more bad teams. And there's some teams, and you could put Ohio State almost in that mix where we still don't know how good they are
we
because they're
don't.
not playing anybody. They have like two big games a year. A lot of those really good teams up there are kind of, missing each other, whereas the bottom tier feels like they're playing every good team. I could be wrong there, just how it feels.
Hey, let me ask y'all. Just why don't you kick this around while I do a promo here? But here's my question: would Kentucky beat Washington, the Huskies? And while you're pondering that, we're going to talk about our friends at Sales Hatch who are not in Washington; they're in Roswell, and they're going to deliver for you. If you own a business, you want to do some business to business stuff, Sales Hatch is the team for you. Why does it matter that they're in Roswell? They understand this situation right now. They can communicate for you effectively and immediately all across the United States, getting you the leads that you need. Running a business is difficult. It's tricky right now in particular just because of a lot of moving parts that are going on right now. Let Sales Hatch deliver for you. You work on the business, in the business. Let Sales Hatch get some things done for you that are the hard part, the cold calls. All of the things that are very challenging, let Sales Hatch get that done. Ryan, would Kentucky beat Washington? The answer does not have to be yes.
No, I don't think they would. I think Washington's one of the better teams in that
Okay.
conference. I think they've got some legit players, and their only losses are good losses, right? Road losses at really tough environments like Ohio State, and well, they played Ohio State at home, but they went to Michigan and lost as well. I think that one's not apples to apples. You give me
Well, okay.
Kentucky would beat Michigan State.
Well, that's
I
not a
think
fair
that they would
fight.
fight
Kentucky
hard
would
with
kill Michigan
they'd
State.
fight hard with Iowa. I think Iowa's defense is legit. Um, I think Auburn would give some of these team troubles. I think Mississippi State would put up some points
Well,
on
I'm
some
trying
of
to
these
think
Big
of
Ten schools.
let me just put
Like,
it to
where
you
is it
this way.
even?
The best team in the Big Ten, Ryan, I think we would all kind of conclude is Ohio State. Now we don't know that, but we've got that comparatively speaking, and we know that Texas is probably. I mean, as it stands right now, Texas is the number. They're the number. They're the number 5 team in the SEC. It's a tie, but they beat both of the teams there, so they are the number 5 team in the SEC. Ohio State beat them by a touchdown. I mean, that's one game. And then you talk about the Michigan-Oklahoma game. I mean, Oklahoma beat them by double digits. I don't know I don't know off the top of my head any other SEC Big Ten matchups. But I get why he's doing this. I think he's really congratulating his team. I expected Oregon to be a little better than this. I don't think they can win at all. I think they're a good team. They're a quarterfinal, semifinal team. I think getting to the finals would be an amazing accomplishment for Oregon and Dan this season. Them winning it, I can't go there. But I think he's just trying to keep his team interested, y'all.
Yeah, they're a top 12 team, but we haven't really been talking about Oregon, Ryan, until last week when they hosted USC. Now they have Washington. I think that would be a nice win on the road. Can I kind of build that resume? But for the longest time, we're looking at Oregon saying, who are you playing? When are you going to finally play them? They beat Iowa. I think that was their first kind of respectable win, but they still have to show me a lot. I like the quarterback. I think he's got the program going in the right direction. I think they're a top 12 team, but like Dean said, I think if they win one playoff game, this is a very successful season for them.
Hey, Ryan, real quick before you get rolling, I will add this for Oregon. They have at least played some legitimate foes in the Big Ten. Most of the Big Ten has figured out how to avoid one another. Indiana, Iowa, SC, they played Penn State when they were ranked number 3. Washington. I mean, Oregon's actually played a legitimate schedule. His beef should be with the schedule makers in Chicago.
Yeah, well, it turns out that that Penn State win doesn't look near as good as it
That's
was
true.
at the time. And then they lost their big game against Indiana at home.
Yep.
And not only did they lose by double digits, it was a pick six that kept them in that game, just a mistake by Fernando Mendoza. So it's not like they were moving the ball really well against a defense you should be able to move the ball against at home in Indiana. So it hasn't been perfect for them when they've got a lot of transfers going through that program. Sometimes it takes time for those things to gel. But now everyone's dealing with that. I think they do it at one of the higher rates in the country in terms of bringing guys in and out. Younger quarterback, I mean, this is year 3 for him, so it's not the end of the world. They had some serious injuries at the beginning of the year to some of their main players, but they haven't looked as good as people thought they might, and a lot of that has to do with that home loss against Indiana. But Dan, win that game. We're talking about you as a bona fide top 3 team, and no one's questioning it.
Well, that's what Dan had to quack about this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.